Okay.
Welcome to another episode of the Waffle Shop podcast. Today I'm joined by the brilliant DJ producer, Max Tyler. Welcome to the Waffle Shop.
Hello, hello. How are we doing?
Not too bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. Just getting on. I think everyone's at that point where we're just about there, but we're also on the tipping point of right. I've had enough.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think.
I think
Do you not think as well? Like, I don't, and obviously we'd launch you straight into this now because you've
yeah
brought it up. But this lockdown seems to be a lot harder than the first
yeah.
one or two.
Everyone's said that, haven't they? But it's like you would think a load of people say it, and then you to go. Do you know I don't agree, but I think most people agree on that.
Yeah. I think
I
because it's
mean,
kind of like
it's
the novelty of it all now. Like it's like the first one, it was like working from home. It was a bit like, oh, this is new, and then
yeah,
the from like my point of view, like the podcast started taking off, and then it was like, oh, it's really exciting. I don't know what's going to happen, but now
yeah.
it's like the novelty's like worn off, and I'm like, oh well, what do I do
Right.
now?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's with everyone really. I think at the first lockdown was kind of like, um, oh, this is cool. Actually, gonna get to spend a bit of time at home, and it's
Yeah,
something new, but it's a bit annoying. But I reckon we can we can stay it out. But and then it gets to the third one, and everyone's like, right now we know the routine. It's getting a bit boring. There's
yeah,
nothing new. Um, so yeah, I don't know. But as I said to you before, I think it's getting better. I think positive news. You keeping positive, and the one thing that I've been kind of saying is that uh, when I get annoyed and when I get frustrated about being in lockdown, I just think
yeah.
forward to the longer we're in lockdown, the better the time is we're gonna have, like the bigger bloody parties we're gonna have when we get out.
Oh. Do you know that is
That's
I
what.
think you're the first person who I've actually spoken to who has that kind of like outlook. So that
Yeah,
is very because didn't they? I think I saw somewhere that it's going to be like very similar to like the Roaring Twenties.
yeah. My dad
So
was saying that.
like I'm ready
Yeah,
with like my top hat and like my monocle. Like I'm
exactly.
ready. I'm ready to go.
Just a load of alcohol and music and
Ah,
load of people. That's what I've been saying. Everyone who's been saying to me, "Oh, for God's sake, can't wait till we're out of lockdown. I don't know what I'm going to do." I just say to them, just think the longer we're in lockdown, the bigger the
yeah.
party it's going to be because the more time we would have spent not seeing anybody. So
You know what? I
that's my
absolutely love
outlook.
that. I didn't realize how much of a hugger I am as well. Like that. Do you know, it
Really?
sounds really so like I just want a hug.
Yeah, exactly,
That
exactly. It
isn't the
was such a
pillow that I
normal.
spoon to sleep.
Yeah, it was such a normal thing. It was such a normal thing. Now everyone's like, "Oh shit, I really needed a hug."
Yeah, it's
But
quite
yeah,
sad, but I'm not afraid to say it.
yeah,
We're two guys talking about emotions. It's
yeah,
breaking the stigma and all
exactly,
that. Yeah, if I hug
100%.
my pillow to sleep, that's what I want to
So
do.
do I. So do I.
So, with being locked down, to be fair, like we normally start with like the weekly waffle, which is something that's kind of annoyed us, but I feel like we've just kind of done that in a nutshell, and I kind of want
Yeah,
to
can't.
keep it positive, keep
Sure.
it light. I want to talk about your journey. I mean, I'm familiar with your story. We've connected like a few times now, but it's kind of like I don't want to say overnight success because I don't like that because obviously there is a lot of hard work and patience that goes into like what you do. But like for
Yeah.
people who don't know who you are, like who are you?
So yeah, great question. Really good question. So basically, Oh, you're frozen. That's your face is kind of in
Oh
this
yeah, there you go.
position of. Oh, all right. Well, I can hear. Oh, there we go. So, basically, about I'd say 2 years ago, um, you know, as every kind of, oh, because I'm 17 now, I'm going to be 18. That's kind of every 16-year-old does. That your dad sits you down and, or you just have a chat and you're like, what do you actually want to do? And blah, blah, blah. And I remember 15 years old and
Yeah,
just on Instagram and on YouTube and seeing these DJs perform in front of these massive crowds of just like thousands of people with incredible music that like would give me goosebumps, music that would make me
yeah,
think of like I want to be there, I want to do that. and then I didn't know at all how I was going to go about doing it. So over that summer, 2 years ago, I kind of grew a passion for wanting to get involved as much as I can. And there's a local DJ in that which my family have used kind of over the years for parties and events. And
Yeah.
I went along with him and helped on one of the gigs that he had done, which was a school kind of party event. And he showed me a couple of the tips and tricks, a couple of the effects that you do. So no real mixing because I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Um, and came back that night at like 2 in the morning. He dropped me off, and I was buzzing, absolutely buzzing. I was like, "That's so cool! I've just DJed." Obviously, have not. So over the course of that
They don't need
summer,
to know that.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Just give the crowd what they want. Um, but yeah, so over the course of that summer, I kind of helped him a bit, not masses at all, because I still, didn't have much idea of what the hell I was doing. Because I'd look at a pair of decks, and I think the funny thing now is that I know it back to the back of my hand now, but people who look at them go, "I wouldn't know where to start." And I think
There is a
that's
lot
kind
of
of the same with,
buttons on them.
yeah, there is, and it did take me a while. Um, but fast forward to June next year, I got my first set of decks, which was really nice. My parents gave those to me. That was for my 16th birthday.
Amazing.
So by the time we went into lockdown in what was it, May 2020,
Yeah.
I'd got my decks June 2019. My maths is probably all over the place, but June 2019, that's right. I turned 16. Yeah, so yeah. So because I turned 17 last year, right? And so I got my first set of decks, and I was obviously ecstatic, and spent day and night. I looked at a couple of YouTube videos, but I tell you, only one or two. Like I'd been taught and shown, and I'd seen, mostly seen and observing this guy Andy
Yeah.
Saunders. I just watched him do all this thing and how he would load a track in, and then it would slowly start to sink in. So I remember just playing around with the buttons. I did like a family party gig. Didn't really know what I was doing. Went on holiday, managed to get on the decks there. Still didn't have a clue what I was doing. I still couldn't mix. I was just using effects.
Yeah.
And I kept on learning, kept on learning, and then I did like a house dance for my school, which was obviously amazing for me. I was like, wow, I've actually just done a mix,
Yeah.
and started doing that. So I kind of had the basics. I kind of knew what to do. Still didn't know how to do it properly though. It was just really rough, but it all come from teaching myself and being obsessed with getting it right and getting perfect. And I had no idea how I was gonna get a following or an audience like I'm really fortunate to have now.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, in long story short, in when we started lockdown, we're lucky to be in connection with Chris Moyles, who's a good kind of family friendish,
This
and
is insane. This is the bit
he
that I was just
he
like, what?
he saw me at we were all in a kind of big group of friends, and he saw me at a Christmas party before we went into lockdown, and he spoke to my dad, and he said, "Oh, he's all right. Maybe we should just see where this goes." Then fast forward to lockdown, when he was doing the lockdown sets, I came up to my room. I saw he was doing these sets, and I put together. I've got the notepad actually today of the set that first kind of kicked off, and I just
Yeah.
wrote down a load of songs, wrote down the BPM, wrote down what I needed to do, when I'm going to change it in, just in case anything ever happened. And I sent his girlfriend a message saying, uh, is there any chance Chris could kind of, maybe mention me after his set? Because before that I was doing break time raves on Instagram Live,
That's
whole
brilliant.
with my phone stood up there, going out the microphone, just going quiet, and I had about three people watching. And then on the Friday, midway through his set, he goes, "There's something to tell you. My mate Max Tyler," and I was like, "Oh my, what the, you know?" And he was like, "He's gonna follow after me. I'll tell you more about him later." And then he carried on, and I was like, "Shit, right? This is serious."
It's
So
serious now.
yeah, I had a mate round, yeah, to go home, and then I was like, "Seriously, this is serious stuff." So came up to my room, got everything ready, and literally, this thing that's next to me now, this wardrobe kind of desk thing, put the decks on there, got my party lights on, and before I would be press live and they'll wait, and then it would, because it took so long for people to come on, it would say, "We're
Yeah.
telling your followers you're coming live." I think I had about 700 followers, whatever. Um, and then press live, 28 people came on straight away, and you can see the excitement in my face. I'm like, "Oh my God, 28 people, that's amazing." And then it goes 50, 70, and then it just went 180, 400, 800, 1,400,
Oh my
1,800 people.
God.
And do you know, like, I can't describe the feeling because
I
it
was about to
was
say, what was
so.
going through your head watching those numbers?
I
Like,
managed to keep calm somehow. What I'd done before is that I'd found a song which basically on the decks you can loop it. So a four
yeah.
beat, it just and you can loop it and then exit it so it makes an effect. So I'd looped this thing, and I was like, and you can look in the video. It's like, "Hi, I'm Max Tyler. Great, yeah, great set from Chris." And I literally couldn't speak. And I exited it and I went, "Let's go, bam, 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 bam." And I remember the song was "Always" by Ellie Brown, and it just, and then from then, I think I made a couple of cock ups, but I managed to style it out and just carry on, carry on, and carry on, carry on, and it was unreal. And then it got off my phone, and I was at like 2,000 followers, and I was obviously like, "Whoa!" Messaging all my friends. I FaceTime Chris afterwards. I was like, "Oh, what the hell's just happened?" And he was like, "Ah, it's brilliant. This is great." And and then from there on, I got some better kit to make the sound better.
Yeah.
And then Chris was plastering me all over the radio at Radio X, and then Kiss FM, like Majestic, started following me and
These
gave
are
me a
big
shout out. Whatever,
names.
it was unreal. It was so weird, and I was like, "This is literally I've got to make the most of this situation." And then yeah, from there on, it kind of really just slowly tumbled into a, a seven till eight slot with Chris
Yeah.
and 8 till 9 with me.
Mate,
But
it's
yeah,
on. Do you know what though? I love so much about this story is that we've talked about quite a lot on the show recently, and it's about the consistency. Like you found like a passion, and what was a hobby then turned into like a real passion, and then it was like, wow, okay, then it turned into like a talent, and then now you're getting the rewards of all the hard work and graft that you're putting in. Like I love hearing about like stories like this because it gives me that like real like fire in my belly, and it just goes to show like with that consistency and kind of like trusting yourself, you can do anything. Like you can do
oh
anything. And there's
definitely,
quite a lot of people that listen to this show that, I know for a fact that they struggle with like their confidence, or, they're scared to kind of get out of their comfort zone. But stories like yours, especially from like, I'm not going to bring the age thing into it, but like even like at your age, I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do till I was like, well, until I turned 30, and I literally accidentally started doing this. And now it's
yeah,
turned into a career. So like to have that confidence is like, no, this is what I'm going to do at your
yeah.
age is phenomenal, mate. And I'm so excited to see like where it goes next,
Oh,
because
thank you so much.
literally
Yeah,
it grows
it's
and grows.
and you're speaking about the confidence thing, and it's not like I'm some sort of like superhuman. No one is, but
Yeah,
I really struggle with confidence, and just like I'm a confident person. I can speak to people, and that all that side's
yeah,
fine. I'm very personable. I love meeting new people, but the schoolwork thing, I was never really amazing at school. I never
yeah,
really kind of knuckled down as much as I could have. And I think I'll always regret that really, because
yeah,
the education that my parents have given me, um, it kind of means that I haven't wasted it, but I could have worked harder,
yeah,
100%. And after years of like that, having that, and not really breaking the cycle, and being bad at maths, or not being good at sport, which I am now. I'm now playing a load of sport, and
yeah,
this was back in like when I was like 11, 12, whatever, and 10 years old.
mm,
Music was the one thing that I really, really excelled at,
yeah,
apart from anything. Um, School was fine. I could do if I better if I tried. Like English, I was good at. I was good at speaking. Maths, absolutely dog at.
I don't,
Um,
yeah, I'm
but
with
I
you on
just
that.
don't get it either. Um, but yeah, and then music. I played piano. I did singing. my singing grades. I've just done my grade 8 in singing. So music was a one big passion that was like really, really burning. And then it gave me the chance to kind of explore it in so many different ways. So the music production sides, which
Yeah.
we can touch on later, or the DJing or the songwriting or whatever. But music was kind of an escape in a way, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
100%.
it did give me that confidence because people were going, wow, this kid's actually really good. And hearing like you're actually really, really good actually motivates you, funny enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes you feel great. And
But
um
you can see
that's
how good it is. I mean, I messaged you the day and said like I think I was doing like housework or something. I had my headphones in and I had one of your sets on. I put like your Instagram videos on, and that was me then for like a good like 30 minutes of just them,
yeah,
and I was just like instant good mood. I
yeah, it's
want
great.
to I want to rewind a little bit because like yourself, like I obviously apologize if I'm kind of putting words in your mouth here, but like music is one of my biggest coping mechanisms. When things get a little bit manic or, I'm feeling stressed, my headphones are in, like I've got my go-to like songs and albums. With you, obviously, because we're from very different generations, can you remember like the first song that you ever heard and was like, this is what I want to do with my career? Like that made you kind of feel something?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, which I've said in a couple of like talk chats and interviews or
Yeah.
whatever, is "Losing It" by Fisher. So
Yeah.
I think I'd just seen that in so many sets and so many of his like DJ sets at Creamfields and in Ibiza and Radio One, and just the reaction to the crowd. I felt
Yeah.
also the urge to want to make a song that would instantly be recognized because like you get like I don't know 100,000 people over the UK from like 20 to 30 years old, and you
Yeah.
play them 5 seconds of that starting song, I guarantee you most of them will know that that is Losing It.
Oh,
And if
mate,
you
literally, I remember we went to Amsterdam in 2019. We went to Alro, and he was one of the headliners. And
oh
literally, when he dropped that, it was like the ground had moved. It was like I didn't know whether there was some kind
it's
of
an unreal
earthquake going on, or but it was just really everyone's reaction to the beginning of that song. It was just
it, it's
amazing.
such a simple song. It literally only consists of a couple of elements. It's the drums, it's the bass, and it's that I'm losing it.
Yeah,
Everyone got to know it, and so everyone loved it. And you know, it's just incredible. So I think that's probably the one that made me think, Christ, yeah, I
yeah.
want to do this. Uh,
I
so
love
yeah,
that.
that's yeah, it's just such
Has
a great
a
song.
has a song ever made you cry?
Oh yeah,
I love
loads,
that. Not that I
tons.
love that you cried, but like I love
Yeah,
because it's like I can see like even just having this conversation, I love how because it's quite rare that I speak to people who get really involved with music and like I can just tell like having this conversation with you now, like I could sit here for hours having this conversation with you.
yeah.
But I
No,
love how it kind of pulls on like the heartstrings and it takes you to that, like you said earlier, like the escape part of it.
definitely 100%. I mean, I have such a weird taste in music. So I love house, love piano house. I love deep house, so a lot of kind of spacey stuff. I
Yeah,
can't stand drum and bass. But
with you on that.
80s, 80s music. I bloody love 80s music and 90s music.
Yeah.
Um, so my parents used to play it all the time in the car, but I just love a good old 80s synth and a bit of Whitney Houston, Million Dollar
Ugh,
Bill, that sort of stuff. It's quality, and the songwriting back then is just unreal. But I think one of the ones that's probably made me cry would be Father Son, Peter Gabriel. You probably won't know it, but
oh,
it's have you heard it?
I
It's
think
like
I know what I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to ask you to sing it, but like I feel like I know what it is because I think it's quite that. It's one of those ones that you know it and you know literally that of the emotion that's going to like. Oh no, I think I'm thinking of Dance with My Father. I think I'm thinking of a
that's
completely different song.
Martin Luther, something like that. But he yeah, no, uh it's like a song which is like a son and the dad's died.
Yeah,
I thankfully haven't gone through any of that, but my granddad, it was kind of
yeah,
heavily associated with him and my mum and blah 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 and
Oh
all of that.
wow.
So it's kind of you know when you hear a song and it's
Yeah.
emotionally attached, it makes you emotional. But I think that's quite that's the amazing thing about music that it's so and a load of people you like when you load of people going that's the amazing thing about music. People can
Yeah.
go, oh, it's really cheesy, but it's so weirdly true. Like you can have a song that will make you cry
Yeah.
in sadness, a song that will make you cry in happiness because you're being in the moment. Um, and then a song that will make you like energized, something will make you annoyed. Like there's so many
Oh
different
yeah.
emotions that come with it. It's mad. It's yeah.
Honestly, I could sit and have this conversation all night with you. Literally, it's, but I love it because it is exactly that, and it's one of the reasons why I do what I do is because I love hearing what other people's because it makes me feel like a little bit more normal that this is this is what I do. So obviously, I'm very grateful. for
Yeah.
that. um, you've mentioned some quite big names and quite big genres. If that's what your go-tos and stuff like that. Like, but who inspires you? Like, where like would you draw like your influence from?
From like influence production styles like songwriting, um, I think I admire Camel Fat a lot. That
Yeah,
duo, they seem to be really nerdy and into it, and like they really know what they're doing. And obviously, that's because I searched up what Mike, the other half. He's 40 years old, and I never knew it. I thought he was like
yeah.
30.
Hey, age is just a
So obviously
number,
they
mate. It's some of
exactly,
us
but they
age like fine wine.
yeah. I mean, like what they've been doing it for so long, so obviously like they've learned
Yeah,
a load. But Camel Fat are a really big one. I used to say Fisher, but I don't think he's an inspiration for production. I think more DJing. His
yeah,
energy doing sets is that's my like that's what I want to be. Not really production because he hasn't actually made a load of songs.
yeah.
And they're all quite some of them all quite similar. But they're all amazing songs. So I think Camel Fat are great. Um, yeah, they're probably the main big one.
Have you ever seen Cole Cox DJ?
Yeah,
He honestly, I kind of get hypnotized when I watch
yeah,
him DJ. Like I always go through this really weird phase. Like obviously last year was all because I'm normally at a festival or I'm out on holiday, like guaranteed. So last year was a big kind of shock for me to not have anything like that. So when all
yeah.
these, like Big Weekend and like Radio One,
Mm.
Ibiza was all over the TV, I was finding myself like watching these sets, but like to a point of view where I was watching like their hand movements. I was watching like I was like,
Yeah.
this oh my god, like he was kind of like
I've analyzed
hypnotizing.
I've analyzed so many of those big weekend things, but mainly because that's why I aim to be in a year's time, next summer. It was actually supposed to be this summer, but obviously I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't. We just wait and see what happens really, and if I'm fortunate enough to get the position to go out there, which would be amazing. But it's
Oh,
probably
I
more likely
can't
to be
wait.
that next summer. Um, but yeah, I know I've watched so many like Idris Elba and Danny Howard.
Yeah.
Watched the Camel Fat one. I've watched Paul Wolford. Actually, that was who I was trying to say. Paul Wolford, um, probably the big one of the biggest inspirations of
Yeah.
production. His production style is like this. Anyone who can have a production style that it's their sound.
Yeah.
So like John Summit or Paul Wolford is that classic piano. You know, he did Looking for Me.
With Diplo
Um,
and Kareen, isn't it?
Diplo and
Yeah.
Kareen Lomax. Um, but yeah, she, he, um, yeah, his production style is amazing. Like with the hi hats and then the bass, and when as soon as you put a song on that's from him, anyone can
You
probably
know,
say, "Oh, that's probably Paul Wolford." Um, so
I'm like that with
him and
Mark
Camel Fat.
Ronson. Like
Yeah,
anything by Mark Ronson, like instantly I can tell it's just that it's old,
production
but it's
style.
new, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like it's
definitely.
a really weird way of describing it. But as well with see, I'm quite music when it comes to like geek like music, I get quite geeky. And it's like with like Pharrell, like you can always tell it's a Pharrell song by like
Oh yeah,
the 4 count into it. Like every
yeah,
Pharrell song that he's ever produced has literally got that the the into
the
it.
bang. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, everyone has their own like John Summit, Deep End. Um, the drums is pretty much the same. Every drop of the drums is the
Yeah.
same. It's the kick and the snare and the hat, and it's all a digga 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 digga, and it's all like a melodic thing. And everyone could probably say, "Oh yeah, it's the drums of John Summit." So it's each to their own, really.
Mate, I'm absolutely buzzing off this conversation, and I'm so excited now that I actually have your number. So when you are in Ibiza, remember me. So you mentioned earlier about the whole singing side of things. Is this something that you're going to kind of lean towards and incorporate into your own songs with your production?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wrote a lot of dance kind of tracks, but I also have a load of ideas for ballads and got a lot of
Wow.
ballad songs with my own voice in. Um, and yeah, I've got so many plans to release those, but I think the main important thing for me at the moment is to kind of gain a bit of a reputation on the whole dance music front, and then I can
Yeah.
afford to then sneak in another genre because I don't want to be outgoing with two genres as if I'm like, oh yeah, look at me, I can do two things. I'd
Yeah.
rather try and specialize
No one likes to show
and then
off.
exactly, and then bring it in. Um, but yeah, been speaking to one person who's actually an influencer. He is
Yeah.
as much as you hate it, and he's not in Dubai though, so we like
Oh,
him.
that's right. We were all right
Um,
with them ones.
and he doesn't like the people in Dubai, so that's all I'll say. But he's a big old guy, and he sings as well. And I've been speaking to him about maybe doing a couple of maybe doing a track together. But he's yeah, he's way up there. I'm down
That's
there. He's
amazing.
up there. But
Yeah, but
yeah, no,
you're
I
on your
definitely, I
way up
definitely,
there. So you
hopefully,
definitely
yeah, I
definitely
am.
one to watch.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would like to have confidence in myself. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely plan to have my voice in a couple of tracks. Um,
I love that.
yeah, it's great. It's good fun.
So is there any kind of, what's the plans for once lockdown has kind of eased off a little bit and that end is in sight? Like, what are you doing first? What's your plans?
I think just get around. I've managed to thankfully build up an amazing array of contacts and
Yeah.
people who are really well respected in their field, who are now following me. And there's a ridiculous amount of people that could literally at the click of a finger do something if I made a really good song or if I,
Yeah.
did a
Wow.
really good set or whatever. So, and that's partly come out of luck, as everything does, through having partly because of having Chris, but also partly for having just worked hard. And
Yeah, definitely.
if I hadn't have performed on that night that Chris has given me the chance, then people would have turned off and gone, right, well, we give him a chance. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's all right for his age. But I made sure that I did really well, and I tried to excel. Obviously, I screwed up quite a bit on the first set, but that was because I was
All
absolutely bricking myself.
experience. All
Um,
experience.
exactly. But yeah, I think I've got a lot of quite a lot of gigs lined up when we're out of lockdown. Um, speaking to like a mini kind of a festival at the moment,
Yeah.
two of them actually, which would be great. It's just all about maximizing exposure, kind of,
Of
and
course.
getting
Yeah.
around, getting my name planted. And um, one of the big people who'd been following with Chris Stark was on Radio One. That was only literally about
Wow.
that was only about I'd say 5 weeks ago he started following me because he came on the set. People started tagging him.
Yeah.
And Paul Robinson, the ex Birmingham footballer, who's well, my brother goes to school with his
Yeah.
little boy, and he kind of knows him through the whole Watford thing. He tagged him and he came on. And he said like, is this the lad who's going to take my job or something? So he's got a good chat, but yeah, I think the plan is just to keep on working hard and to make the most of lockdown, make as much music as I can, and get it to the highest standard that when we're out, I can just keep on doing what I do, just completely go at it and go at it until another opportunity comes, and then take that.
I love it. It's
Yeah,
like I can literally see like the determination, and I'm genuinely really excited. So I'm quite grateful that I got this opportunity to have a chat with you now, so that when you do eventually like blow up in the way that, you know, with all the hard work that you're putting in and how consistent you've been with it all, like you're going all the way to the top, mate. Like
Hopefully.
I'm so excited to see what happens.
It's what a few people have said they're really excited. I'm excited as well.
Yeah.
I just hope it. I just hope it's all good news. But I'm sure that when we're out of lockdown, I'll be able to make the most of it as well.
Definitely.
Like I kind of have been with doing all these sets. Like every set is another band of people. It's another 100 bunch of new followers or 400 followers or whatever it may be. But it's
It's
every week.
amazing, mate.
It's kind of exposed myself to more and more people, which is great.
And it's down to
Yeah.
pure talent. Like you said, like you've put those hours and hours in. Do you know what I mean? As much as like you can say it's down to like the connections or look, I mean, I don't know obviously, but like when I don't think it's like luck. It is genuinely down to, you know, your passion, your talent,
It's yeah,
and it's great.
it's a bit of both. You know, there's a bit of luck and obviously you're having the contacts, but at the end of the day, you know, if I wasn't actually good at what I do, then there's no point
Yeah,
having the luck. There's no point having the contacts. You've got to put the work in before you have access to these things. I already kind of knew that I would be able to get access to them, but not to the amount that I've had.
yeah,
So regardless, I love doing what I did, so I just carried on doing it. And like, if I hadn't have made a set just in case she had said, in case she hadn't come back, or in case she said
yeah.
yes, then I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have had to do it on the spot, but planning and planning, but like before, jotting some songs down was safer.
And you know what though? But that notepad with that note on that'll be in a photo frame one day. So when you've got
That's
like your
why
Grammy or, you know,
I've
whatever
kept
else,
it.
like
I've kept it.
that's where it started.
I've kept it. I've got my there's a thing up here which I got framed for Christmas, which was the two newspaper articles that were written about me, and then a T-shirt that I got when I was 4, which says
Yeah.
"Future DJ,"
Wow. It was
and
written in the stars, mate. It's destiny.
I framed it. I'll
That's
keep that
brilliant.
there. But yeah,
So where can people find you on social
on
media?
Inst,
Obviously, not like
yeah.
don't give out your home address, especially not for the people who listen to this show.
Yeah. um, yes, if you go on Instagram, I'm Max Tyler Official. I go on Twitter a bit, and I don't know what I am on Twitter. I don't really go on Twitter as much as I really should.
Say I'm
I
too
mainly
old for
kind of
Twitter.
use. Yeah, I just don't really get it. I'm 17. Um, I'm Max T Official on Twitter and yeah, Max Tyler Official on Instagram.
You need to make sure you're
Um,
getting this right. I'll post the links anyway, everyone who's listening to this, because
I
he
am
has a
lovely.
habit of telling people the wrong email addresses.
Oh, sorry.
So
Yeah, I think it was really late at night, and I just put that down and forgot the F.
it
I
was
was
like
like, oh
7
shit,
p.m.
was it?
No, I can't remember. I probably wasn't even paying attention. My
No,
attention span at
God.
the minute is dreadful.
Yeah, I realized that. I looked at it and I was like, oh God, I
You've
haven't
done your
put the F
damage
in.
now.
Yeah, it's done it exactly. But yeah, no, it was funny.
Mate, honestly, thank you so much for joining me for Waffle. Like, I keep saying it because, and it's going to start sounding really cringy now as if I'm fangirling, but I'm genuinely really excited. And to have that kind of level of like nerdiness you have around music, like I massively respect that because I do the same. And it's nice to have a conversation from someone from a completely different kind of generation to me who has that same kind of passion. So thank you
Yeah.
for your time and for
Well,
joining
thank
me.
you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been good fun. Hope everyone enjoys it.
Oh, they will. They love it.
Really.